Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the TMZ Podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton and today I'm joined by Derek Kaufman.
Always good to sit in the co-anchor chair with my friend Charlie. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good.
Ordinary.
It was
I know
ordinarily
it was completely
good.
ordinary. You have little kids. You're doing nothing anymore. Your life is uninteresting.
I saw you post everything about your life.
I did.
You went to like a science works or something?
It was Carter's 4th birthday, so we went to a
congrats.
rock climbing facility. We don't get outside much, but we'll do indoor rock climbing in an air-conditioned setting.
Fantastic, mate. Well, some big stories today.
Yeah, bangers.
Bangers. Britney Spears is not on meth. That is according to Britney Spears and Kevin Federline, her ex. We'll also talk about there was a big brawl at the Mayweather Gotti boxing exhibition fight.
And not even the fight.
The fight. But the fight wasn't between those two specifically. Well, there was many fights happening around the arena. We'll talk about that. And also, finally, we'll talk about Khloe and Tristan Thompson. Taytum Thompson is their kid's name. Wasn't originally named Taytum Thompson.
Got it. So is this a tea leaf? We're going to have to get into it a little bit.
This is a little bit of a tea leaf.
We're going to read into it. All
Yes,
right.
Stay tuned. It's a stay tuned. All right. So Britney Spears is not on meth. That is the headline. This comes after a report came out linking Britney to crystal meth. Apparently a journalist went round to K-Fed's home with the boy. A journalist wanted to meet with all of them and apparently...
Meet with K-Fed.
Did we meet with K-Fed?
Which K-Fed acknowledges that this reporter asked some questions and K-Fed was answering some questions. And then the report comes out that they're really concerned that Britney is on crystal meth.
Well, K-Fed said, this is a direct quote from him, "I fear she's on meth. I've been praying someone would make it public and that she wakes up. It's terrifying. She's the mother of my boys." And now after this article and others come out, K-Fed then jumps saying, there are lies in this. He doesn't specify what the lies are. He goes, there are lies. This is a false report. He's trying to come out on the defense.
Yes.
Now, I think...
And attacking the journalist for bad tactics. I let you into my home, and this is what you've done with my words, and so forth.
Exactly.
What do you think of this? What do you take of this? Because I read those articles too, and there's these direct quotes. I fear she's on meth. Now, the best I can say is, if K-Fed is telling the truth that that's an out-and-out lie, that's a hell of a lie for a journalist to sort of make up a quote whole cloth. Is it possible he said something tonally that was different, like in jest, like, oh man, seeing her twirl around makes it seem like she's on meth, and he was joking, and then the journalist writes it as deathly afraid that his mother of his children is on meth? I'm not clear what's happening even because it's such a direct quote.
It's such a direct quote, and he didn't come out to refute that direct quote. He basically only came out to sort of like...
say that's a scumbag.
Don't
listen
that a
to it.
journalist is doing this to our honest family. But I think he knew this was happening all the time. He kind of knew that he was going to have to defend what he said, but he wanted to say it anyway.
Yeah, look, I mean, K-Fed has been around a long time. He's very savvy with journalists. You've seen him in the field before. He's like a pretty private guy, right? You get him in the shop. He's pushing a shopping cart or daddy.
Right.
He knows how to handle the media. He's not always popping off. He's not that reckless. So when I saw the report, the initial one that he said he was concerned she was on meth, my first inclination was, wow, he's really starting to sort of express some concern, and he does it always in a careful way. He's pretty measured. I know he's the Popo Zao guy, but he's not a guy who is a loose cannon typically, so I thought it had some truth to it. And then he immediately tries to throw the journalist under the bus. And then, Matt Rosengart also came out and said, this, even in the age of clickbait journalism, this is even poor by their standards. And so now I'm just confused. I don't know what pieces of that report have veracity. K-Fed did indicate that those people came and spoke with him. It's not like they just invented it and he's like, I don't know these people. That would have been the easiest thing.
They almost lived together for a few days. I really do think that Kevin Federline wanted this story to get out there, but he didn't want the blood on his hands, sort of thing. And then now that it's out there and he's got to sort of like backtrack almost a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's taking the boys to Hawaii to get away. Apparently, this report said that the last time the boys saw their mother, they thought that someone was bringing her drugs.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
That's what the report says. But when K-Fed comes out to sort of deny the report, he doesn't deny any specifics. He's kind of just attacks the journalist, which means I don't think he wants Britney mad at him. He wants to sort of be on the same side as Britney because otherwise it's, that us versus them will never work.
But to your point, in inviting a journalist, Daphne Barak and Herbal Gunasti, and you have them in your home and you give them access to your thoughts, they don't want to just hang out with you, K-Fed. These are people who want a story about Britney Spears. He's not a babe in the woods who's like that naive to know that if you have two journalists in your house, they're looking for an angle, right? So that's what's confusing. Did he want to get this story out, to your point, or was he really just blindsided? And the nature of his comments sound like I was betrayed by Herbal Gunasti, as if it's like a good friend of his who has leaked a story.
It's so preposterous.
It's preposterous.
That like if Britney falls for this, you know what I mean? Like, she's not going to fall for the fact that, they didn't make up that direct quote. The journalists are not making up, quotes about Britney on meth. You could sue them for that, couldn't you?
Also, yeah, absolutely, if they're making things up. But he also wants to keep a safe distance from inflammatory comments like this because, remember, he collects child support. I'm sure there are parameters of that deal that you can't disparage the other parent. So he didn't do this directly. He didn't go to the press and say, hey, we're moving to Hawaii because we're worried she's on meth and is going to be destructive to our family. He didn't do that. But what you're insinuating is that he wanted to get that message out there for her safety. He's obviously saying that didn't happen and these are lies and so forth, but it's a strange scenario because it seems like he might want a certain message out there but doesn't want to have his fingerprints on it. So it's very, very confusing. His fingerprints are on it, although you're right, it's plausible to Britney who hates, the media and thinks they're always out to get her, that this fits within that narrative. So he's now trashed them. Matt Rosengart has trashed them, trashed the journalists, and yet the message is out there. So now people are going to start looking at her Instagram very closely, looking for signs, making sure like her erratic behavior, maybe she calms down a bit. I have no idea whether or not she's on any drugs, though, after I read this. I know that they both denied it on her side. But
they must be concerned in some capacity, and that's partly why they had that, planned intervention that didn't go through. And this, meth supposed thing was kind of a part of why they wanted the intervention in the first place, supposedly.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're being cute with the words a little bit. Maybe it's not meth. Maybe there are some other things going on. We know from the conservatorship that she does battle mental health issues. It doesn't need to be a drug that is driving this behavior. She's behaved in this way before. I know that can exacerbate it and so forth. But there's a lot of concern here. It doesn't alleviate concern about Britney for me in any way. No. All it does is elevate it. Even if you
which is what Kevin wanted, which is I think, which is what he was trying to get at. He didn't want it on his hands, but unfortunately it is. And we'll see what happens now. Maybe, hopefully there'll be kumbaya sometime soon, but I didn't see it.
I know. And everyone had tried to read she was mature about the boys moving to Hawaii with K-Fed, and we were starting to see some glimmers of hope. This is the dark side of what is going on between these two people, because the news stories had been getting better. It was like, Britney's turning a page. She's meeting with her mother, Lynn. She's mending fences there. She's allowing her boys to leave, and she was posting nostalgic photos of them. And now we get a nasty story like this. I hope it doesn't derail everything that has been positive going on, but it does look bad.
Hey everybody, it's Harvey Levin from TMZ here to talk to you about Cerebral. Cerebral is a 100% online mental health service that offers therapy and medication management for anxiety, depression, insomnia, stress, burnout, and a lot more. Cerebral is here for anyone looking for help with their mental health, no matter where you are in your journey. If you feel like you're experiencing burnout or processing a major life event, Cerebral can provide the services you need. Plus, Cerebral offers affordable treatment options that are 1/3 the price of traditional therapy. You can connect with your therapist on your own schedule using your laptop or the Cerebral mobile app, and schedule sessions at the times that are most convenient for you. And for listeners of the TMZ podcast, you're going to receive an exclusive 50% off your first month of therapy by going to Cerebral.com/TMZ. That's Cerebral.com/TMZ for 50% off your first month of therapy. For mental health care that's accessible and affordable, join Cerebral today.
Okay, on to our next story. There was
fireworks
at the Mayweather-Gotti fight. It went down in Sunshine, Florida.
Yes, just an exhibition.
It's supposed to be an exhibition, but what an exhibition it was, because I don't know if you guys have seen the videos, and if you haven't, you should go to our website because, oh my God, there are so many good videos. It starts with the fight in the actual ring, the exhibition, where the fight gets waved off because John Gotti He got disqualified. He was sort of like had him in a headlock too much. He wasn't throwing punches enough.
Did you expect an honorable fight from John Gotti III? Did you expect him to be above board and adhere to all the rules of boxing and formalities?
From that point that I've described, it disintegrated further.
Yeah.
Because when the ref called off the fight, he stepped around the ref and started throwing punches. And everyone jumped into the ring. And then because the scene dissolved into chaos, there were fights happening. There were spot fires all around the arena. There's so many different little fights because everyone must have been so pent up. And when the ref called it off, they were like, "No, we're gonna continue it our own way." One of the biggest fights, and I mean it. You should really go to the website and look at this video. Joseline Hernandez,
Puerto Rican princess.
Oh, you know her nickname?
I've heard of her. I've heard of her.
Famous on Love and Hip Hop. She's famous in her own right, but she got into the biggest fight with this music artist named Big Lex. And she, even someone watching the fight said, Joceline's going to kill her.
Yeah.
And it looked like...
She's tough.
When she had her in the headlock and, it looked like she was suffocating. Like, it looked like a UFC type thing. It was... I'd never seen a sporting event like this where after it ends... There is just melees everywhere. Nowhere's safe.
It's mayhem. And, Joseline, we've seen, she's gotten physical before on Love and Hip Hop. She's sort of known for this. She doesn't look like she's, laying off in any way. A lot of times the fights on reality shows are a lot of flailing. There's a lot of theatrics, but very few punches landed. There's not, it doesn't look serious. It just looks exciting. And I think reality television is built on, wine throws on the housewives.
There was
really
that, too.
Hurt.
There was that, too, last night.
But this actually, I agree with you. When you watch this, you're like, oh man, is Big Lex in danger? Should someone intervene? This doesn't seem like reality television. This seems like a real brawl where we need the authorities to come in and make sure no one ends up in the hospital. It's wild. I don't know. I want to go back to Floyd and John even doing this thing. This is at this point, is this tarnishing Floyd's legacy that he does these ridiculous exhibitions with John Gotti the third, and then John Gotti hits him he's now reality fodder. The fight is secondary to Joseline Hernandez beating the crap out of someone.
But how much did he get paid for this farce?
A lot.
A lot, probably tens of millions.
It's worth it, I guess.
It's worth it so he can get another necklace or something. You know what I mean?
he already retired a long time ago, undefeated. So he's very concerned about his record staying that way. So he does these clown fights. John Gotti the third has no business in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. He's not even a Jake Paul. He's
clearly. But I mean, afterwards, the cynic in me thinks that everything's probably set up. I always think everything's a setup. Nothing's for real. If you're on a reality show, there's very little you can do to convince me that anything happens in your life is reality. I think it's all staged. But when you watch Joseline eyeball this Big Lex and go after her and there's no way they sort of set this up beforehand. Let's do a little brawl in the stands.
Yeah, there was no whispering go easy on the face. I need to be on a show next season.
Don't kill me, but
when we do
close.
the reunion, put your hands around, but don't push. Don't apply pressure. It doesn't look that way. It looks unhinged, right?
It really does.
And it's true. We sit in that room, and Charlie is the cynic of cynics. I mean, we're all in that room. We're all very sort of have a skeptical eye about everything. Jussie Smollett, all that stuff. Before it came out about Jussie Smollett, there were a bunch of us in the room going, this seems a little bit off.
Yeah.
Day one, right? But every story, don't buy it. He sits in that, not buying it.
And
Doesn't matter.
I'm right 8 out of 10 times.
It's true. You have a pretty good track record. If I had just been as cynical as you, I think I'd be batting higher.
Right. Well, as I say, go to the website to look at those videos. It's just crazy. On to our final story. So Khloe Kardashian's baby, Taytum Thompson, didn't used to be a Thompson. In fact, used to be a Kardashian. When the baby was born, they were going through all of those cheating scandals that Tristan was involved in. And so she didn't think that he deserved the last name for the baby. So it was a Kardashian coming into this world. But since that point, they've changed it. And, people are saying that this is a sign that she is potentially thawing out whatever thing she was holding against Tristan. So the fact that she has gone in and changed it to giving it the Tristan, alliteration there as well.
Yes.
She obviously, they say we are not back together. They say that, but
Right.
you know that I'll believe you or my lying eyes because I see those two out everywhere. You know, and they're always look, you know, pretty affectionate.
Can this happen? You can be not together romantically, but you can raise a family and have like a very strong interest in having True, their daughter, have a sibling with the same last name. It's like there's a part of the Kardashians that this is what I believe is going on. Tristan has embarrassed her a lot. And were she to wade into the waters of like a monogamous relationship with Tristan, you know, it's a matter of time, not if. It's
Yes.
when, not if Tristan will stray. And I think she knows that at this point. It's not like, oh, is he going to, will he make it? Will he not? He's not going to make it. Okay.
Right.
We know that. He doesn't
Right.
make it. But I do think she likes the babies he makes. They're very cute. They've got a beautiful
He's a
family
good-looking
on
guy.
paper. He's a very good looking guy. He's very charming. If you've ever seen him on the show, you can see why she's lured into the spider web every
I'm
time.
into it.
Yeah, you just get lost in him. He's extremely handsome. He was in the playoffs. You know, he's a basketball player. He's so tall. So maybe she just wants kids who he's got good genetics, and she wants to co-parent in a peaceful sort of way, but maybe not romantically. The problem, to your point, is once you're lost in those eyes, just like time has a way of getting away from you. And I think she may slip up. I think we're both right. I don't think she wants to be in a relationship with him, but I think she may have a few slip ups because he's so handsome and charming.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. That's my thought on it. And we'll all be like, oh, they were,
There's
you know,
few
she was
slip-ups.
stupid.
It's
We'll slip
impossible
up.
not to when you stare at that man. Like you don't, because he's so tall, you don't realize what an amazing face he has as well.
Beautiful.
But when I'm looking at the Instagram, going through her birthday tribute to him, actually, I was just going through the slideshow going, happy birthday, Tristan. I was thinking,
Happy birthday. Honestly, happy birthday. What bone structure to be that large. Like, because most basketball players, they're monsters. They're like ogres. I love Jokic is a great player, but he's not pulling Kardashians because he's just monstrous and good at basketball. But
I don't care how faithful Jokic is, he will never pull someone like Khloe.
no.
You
it's
prefer to be with the Tristan who strays than the Jokic who doesn't.
Yeah, everyone's got, he's got so many triple doubles. Yeah, but he's got like weird bruises on his arm all the time.
Yeah.
He's like not a specimen in the same way. Tristan Thompson, who is much less good at basketball and plays, you know, garbage time minutes and mop up ball, but
Who
man,
cares?
looks good doing it.
Wow.
Looks good doing it.
He looks great riding the bench.
So you're the cynic. Now I wonder where you fall on this. Are you cynical that she's not with him, so you believe she's with him, or are you so cynical on the relationship that it couldn't exist? Like, where does the cynicism land you?
This is like a cynic inception now.
Yeah, we're like levels deep, man. I'm spinning the top. Where does it land?
I think there must be some romance there.
You do.
I don't. Otherwise, I think that oh my God, he's so good looking and charming. I think that turns to hate. Everything about the way he looks and he sounds turns to like hate. I can't believe anybody else would fall for this tricks.
Yes.
But you see them, they're all like real friends and they're like good co-parents, everyone. We're just co-parenting. I don't buy it.
I'll tell you what happened. And you're married, you have a kid, and then we can wrap this up. But when you see a dad, when moms see a dad doing like cute dad stuff, man, it's an aphrodisiac. It's like that. Like they just like it warms their heart to see like, oh, he's playing with our children.
Yes.
And there's gonna be those moments where he's like got True up in the air and Taytum on his arm, and you know, doing something cute where she's gonna be like, oh man, tonight. It's gonna be like
it does.
that. Yeah.
It makes you forget everything. One of the
Dissolves
slides in the slideshow for his birthday I was looking at that Khloe made was True like dancing around him, around and around his big old legs.
Right.
And I could just like
you could see it like sort of fading and her softening on him.
It's like the flower girl. If you give the flower girl a dance at a wedding, famous move.
Yes.
It's like it makes you forget.
They love it.
It makes you forget
any
everything.
bridesmaid you want if you do a little turn with a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
it's very true. But her friend should be texting her the motorboating video just to like remind her of who Tristan is after dark, right? That's who Tristan is. Tristan's face in the boobies.
True. Daytime Tristan is lovely.
Yes.
Nighttime Tristan.
Oh boy.
He can stray.
The wolf comes out.
The wolf comes out.
All right.
Thank you very much for joining me, Derek. It's a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. See you next time.
See you next time, guys. Bye.